podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Now entering the PNRNetworks arena, coming down the aisle from Revere, Massachusetts, weighing in at absolutely none of your business. It's the Mistress of Mayhem, the Queen of Quips. It's time for Ring Around the Rosie with your hostess, Kim Brown.
Hey everybody, welcome to another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I'm your host, Kim Brown, aka Platinum Rose Lady, coming to you on February 20th, 2019. Well, here we are in the middle of February in the great and glorious state of Massachusetts, home of the Super Bowl champion Patriots. Suck it. Sorry, had to get that. I'm required by law up here to get that in. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure it's a written down law, but I'm pretty sure. Just kidding. Sorry. Can't help it that we're better than you. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. Lighten up. So obviously there's a couple of things we have to talk about. And those would include the WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which just happened over the weekend, and we are definitely going to talk about that. But before we get to that, we have a couple of other important bits of news out there. One of them's a thing that happened today that I was like, what? And the other thing happened earlier in the week. It was announced on Raw, and it was actually I think it hit the interwebs a little before that D-Generation X will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. D-Generation X, of course, being Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Chyna, the Road Dogg, and the badass Billy Gunn, and X-Pac. Now, I know a lot of people have said, well, you know, why are you including Chyna this way? Why can't Chyna be on her own in there? Blah, 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 blah. Not fair, not fair. Okay, couple of things. I understand where you're coming from, and I absolutely go along with it. Everybody out there who's saying that is 110% right. Chyna definitely deserves to go into the WWE Hall of Fame all by herself because she revolutionized women's wrestling. And I don't think anybody's going to argue with me on that. Now, that is what we would all like to happen in a perfect world. But in a perfect world, you know, I would be I don't know what I'd be. If you know, the thing is, if everybody was what we wanted to be when we grew up, there'd be a shit ton of astronauts and ballerinas out there, or maybe even astronaut ballerinas. That would be interesting. I don't know what if I was all the things I wanted to be when I grew up, right now I'd be a veterinarian, actress, best-selling author, wrestling commentator. Ow. I'm not really sure how that would work, but whatever. That's in a perfect world. Of course, in a super perfect world, I'd have like mutant powers and I'd be one of the X-Men. But anyway, moving forward. So obviously the thing is, we would all like Chyna to be in the Hall of Fame on her own. As it stands, her being put into the Hall of Fame as part of D-Generation X at least is something. I mean, I know beggars can't be choosers is a bit of a flip way to say it, and I don't mean to be flip. I'm honestly not trying to sound like I'm being dismissive or anything like that of Joni Lauer's career, because I'm definitely not. I feel very sad that she's not with us anymore. I can be perfectly honest and say that I was at one of her first shows, at a show in the southern part of the state, and I can't think of the name of the town now. It might have been Southborough, I think. I remember we drove out there on a freezing cold night to see the show, and our car died like a day or 2 days later. And she was part of a mixed tag team. This is before she debuted for the WWF back then. And she had blonde hair, kind of shorter, kind of like a bob cut blonde hair. And I remember the both of us, my guy and I, were like sitting there going, who is that? Oh my gosh, she's built amazing. You know, I remember thinking that she was like, had the most incredible build I'd ever seen up close on a woman. And I was like, wow. And then when we saw her in the WWF with the black hair and everything, we're like, that's the same woman we saw. What the heck? You know, it's very weird. But like I said, I'm very sad that she's not with us on this plane of existence anymore. And I'm really sad that toward the end of her life, things weren't the way she probably would have wanted them to be. I mean, you know, unfortunately, that's a sad state of affairs, but, you know, it is what it is. And to have her in the Hall of Fame, even as part of a group, it's something. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it's something. And if nothing else, if this is me being wildly optimistic, then it's me being wildly optimistic. And, you know, I realize that that's kind of, you know, I'm the fluffy kitties and puppies person. I know that, you know, but it's a start. I mean, maybe in a few years, 10, 15, 20 years, she'll be inducted on her own. I don't know. That would be nice. I would be happy, but it's good enough for now, I guess. We should actually all be grateful that she's being inducted as part, because I mean, wouldn't that have really sucked if they had inducted DX and not included her and kept up this, oh, we can't include her, she's done porn, you know, kind of thing. I mean, granted, I didn't realize some of the movies that she was involved with, and I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't seen them, and I have no desire to. I mean, if you're an adult and that's your thing, you be you. No judging here, but wow. Anyway, but moving forward, I'd like to also bring up one other thing about the whole DX, induction into the Hall of Fame. And I have to do this. I do. I've seen some things on the interwebs that I've found unpleasing, and those would include people making really bitchy remarks about X-Pac being there. Like, you know, I mean, people have been like, oh, well, you know, the Road Dogg and, you know, Triple H and blah, 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 but why him? Nah. You know, and, I'm sorry. No. That's bullshit. X-Pac, at the time, and actually now, from what I've heard, I haven't seen any of his work recently, and I'm sorry to say that, he was an amazing athlete. And I'm not saying he wasn't a polarizing athlete. He absolutely was once the DX whole thing kind of, you know, ended and stuff like that. I mean, I thought it was hilarious that during the whole invasion disaster angle, I'm sorry. Oh gosh, did I say, oh, my Freudian slip is showing. Let me tuck that back in. You know, during the whole invasion angle, all of the WWE people, or WWF at the time, were getting cheered. It didn't matter if they were face or heel, they were getting cheered, except X-Pac. You know, and there's a reason the term X-Pac heat is out there. I don't think it's a particularly nice term, you know, and I can think of other people who deserve it more, but so to anybody out there being like, oh, why are they including X-Pac as part of DX, blah, blah. No, he deserves to be there. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. Okay? Just don't be that guy. Okay. Talking about some news that came out today that, it was kind of one of those late in the day bits of news that when I read it, I was kind of like, what? And I was like, I'm telling myself this is a joke, or this is an April Fool a little early, or whatever. I'm having a stroke. I'm not sure. I'm like freaking out when I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, before we completely flip out, let's see if we can see it in other sources and make sure it's not just one person reporting. So, I checked a whole bunch of different places and everybody's reporting the same thing, and I was like, holy fucking fuck. Chris Hemsworth of the Marvel movie universe as Thor, pardon me, I was completely unbiased. I'd love to toss his hammer. Chris Hemsworth is in talks or has, been cast. I'm not really certain at this point. He is set to be in the film and to play Hulk Hogan in a biopic about the Hulkster. Needless to say, I was a bit like, what? The Hollywood Reporter are the folks that broke this story, so I want to give them credit. The film is, as of right now, I mean, this is all, this could all change tomorrow for all I know. The film is supposed to be directed by Todd Phillips, who is currently working on a film about the Joker, not the one with Jared Leto, because apparently that's been scrapped. You got me as to whether or not that's, this film is supposed to be written by John Polano, who was the writer for the film Stronger, and Scott Silver, who is actually the writer, one of the writers, working on the Joker film. Okay, I'm completely, I think the word I want to use is gobsmacked. Yeah, we'll go with gobsmacked. I'm like, what? It's not that I don't adore Chris Hemsworth. I do adore Chris Hemsworth. In ways that, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to put that right over there and I'm going to walk away. He's a terrific actor. I mean, I think he's a great actor. He's a muscular guy. He's charming. He's charismatic. Do I think he can do a good job playing Hulk Hogan? Absolutely I do. But I have to be completely honest. I don't know where in Hogan's career this film is going to be set. I honestly don't know. Nobody seems to know yet. We do know that Hogan is going to be part of the film, as according to the Hollywood Reporter. They're saying he is going to be a consultant and an executive producer. And I guess the film's going to be looking at the beginning of Hogan's career. So I'm assuming, it's going to be like the start of his career in maybe like in the Memphis territory and with the AWA and his time in Japan, I'm thinking. And, and then how, he became Hulk Hogan and how Hulk Hogan became Hulk Hogan, all caps. And, that he was one of the people that brought wrestling to the mainstream. He was one of the people that, whether some people want to admit it or not, whether some people like it or not, at the time, he made it cool to be a wrestling fan. Take that for what it's worth, but he did. From the impression that I'm getting from what I've read, this isn't going to be looking at the later things that, where stuff went wrong, so I don't know where that means they're going to leave the film. I mean, it would be hilarious if they left it right when he walked out at, was it Bash at the Beach and turned heel and the whole NWO thing. I don't think that's what they're going to do, but, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a great idea? Do you think it's a disaster? Do you think it's going to happen? Because that once this gets out there into once everybody talks about it, which everyone's going to, you're going to have some people that are going to start screaming, what? Why? This is a terrible idea. Hulk Hogan did this. Now, granted, the point of the film is not at the time when Hogan did this, but I don't know. I mean, other people have almost had movies made about them too, and the internet has howled and screamed, and projects have been dropped faster than a hot rock. So I don't know. I mean, I have to admit, I'm intrigued and terrified. possibly more terrified than intrigued. I don't know. I'm completely, like I said, I'm gobsmacked. I'm totally gobsmacked. And I'd love to know what your opinions are out there. If you'd like to give them to me, platinumroselle@yahoo.com. I would love to know. So, moving on to the Elimination Chamber, which was this past Sunday, the 17th of February, in Houston, Texas, at the Toyota Center. I'd like to bring up something else. This is kind of like a little side thing, because you all know me, and you know that I just kind of bounce around, and I have 70 kabillion thoughts going on in my brain at the same time. I really find it interesting, and it actually makes a fuck ton of sense. I mean, you think about the fact that the show is called the Elimination Chamber, WWE Elimination Chamber in America, because that's where I'm broadcasting from. So that's all I've got. But, you think about what it's called in other countries, and, the other countries, they have their own language, and, they have their own wording for things, and I don't know how you'd say Elimination Chamber in French or anything like that. But I do find it interesting that Wikipedia brings up in their review of the show that the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view is not called Elimination Chamber in Germany. It's actually called No Escape. And when you think about it, that makes a whole bunch of sense. It really does, because I think you all know why. You're a smart group out there. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. So moving forward. We begin the show with the pre-show matches, which were, Buddy Murphy, who was, going against Akira Tozawa, and, Buddy Murphy, the WWE Cruiserweight Champion. And he won the match, defeating Tozawa using Murphy's Law, so he kept his belt. The beginning match of the show was the Tag Team Elimination match, the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match, which was for the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Now, before I go any further, yes, I'm going to talk about this. And I know some people out there, specifically my husband, hi honey, are going, oh no, here we go. Now the WWE has been hyping the crap out of the fact that the new, this is something new and unexpected and totally different, and you've been clamoring for this, fans, so now we're going to give it to you. The women are going to have tag team belts. Isn't that awesome? Aren't we progressive? Pat ourselves on the back, blah 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 blah. Okay, I would like to call bullshit and fuckery. Complete bullshit and fuckery here. The WWE, yes, these are the new tag team champions. These are not the first belts that have been given to tag team females in this damn company. The WWF had a women's tag team championship. It did exist, because this has been fucking bothering me ever since they started hyping the heck out of this stuff, because I remember seeing these matches. I remember seeing them on TV. I remember those belts. I remember being at the Boston Garden and seeing at least one tag team championship match. And I remember back when there were actual tag teams that weren't just two people slapped together. Because one of them was an amazing team, the Jumping Bomb Angels, Norio Tateno and Itsuki Yamazaki, who were freaking awesome. I mean, on the incredible Japanese women's wrestling level, which is just crazy anyway, because the women over there are some of the best wrestlers in the world, and I will fight you if you say otherwise. But I'm sorry. I mean, were there a lot of champions? No. There were 5. The belts seemed to pass between, a few different teams over and over again. Were the belts around for a long time? No. They didn't even make it to 6 years. They were around from May of 1983 to February of 1989. So, But they existed, damn it. You know, for the love of Larry, they existed. Could you stop acting like they didn't? I mean, fine. Okay. And I know some people out there are going, but Kim, it's the WWE now. It's all different. You have to be more, you know, accepting and blah, 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 blah. Screw you. I don't have to do anything but die and pay taxes. So, I don't know who said that, but whoever said it had it right on the nose. Well, I also have one other thing to do, and that would be look fabulous. But anyway, so it just, I mean, that just drives me nuts. That's my little pet peeve that I'm gonna, and this is the last time I'm gonna bring it up. So we'll go from there. So, the teams involved in this match were the Boston Hug Connection, the team of Bayley and Sasha Banks. Boston Hug Connection. Oh boy. I don't know what else to call them. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't. I wish I could come up with a better name so I could be like, I have a better name for them and it's this, cause I don't have it. I don't have one. So anyway, Carmella and Naomi, who should have been called Team Glow, I would think, or whatever. Kind of, I guess. If you're gonna have to give people names, I suppose, I would have gone with that myself. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, who were part of Absolution, but that's apparently fallen by the wayside because the only person people cared about, Paige, is not part of them anymore. Nia Jax and Tamina, every name I could think of to come up with for them would get me in trouble, so I won't say any. And it's not a question of being bitchy or anything like that. It's just a question of every name I come up with is dumb, and I'm not going to use them. And I admit they're dumb, you know, so there's that. The Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. Oh, we'll get to you in a minute, ladies. And part of the Riot Squad in Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. This was a really, in great match. I mean, it was really, really something great to watch. The basic thing of it is you've got these women in the pods waiting till it's their turn to come out of the pods and then get in there and wrestle. And the pods are open at certain times. I mean, you guys know how the Elimination Chamber works. It's been around for years. You're, like I said, you're a smart bunch. And at first I was kind of like, I mean, the pods aren't, I was like, aren't they going to be kind of squashed? But no, I mean, everybody looked like they were like pretty comfortable except for Nia later on. Snark. I'm sorry. That made me laugh because I have a sadistic streak and I admit it. So I also want to bring up something else. Carmella. First of all, I do want to say Carmella really does the best moonwalk I've seen since Michael P.S. Hayes. She's really good at that. And I get the whole glowing stuff because she's teaming with Naomi and Naomi wears all the glowy stuff, which is really cool. I mean, it's really cool glowy stuff. I can't wear that stuff anymore because I actually never really could wear it. I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to go like, well, I'm not a young girl anymore, but, I actually really couldn't wear stuff like that. I've always headed more toward, wearing black and dark colored clothing and stuff like that. I mean, I've worn enough bling on occasion to be seen from space, but other than that, I gotta say, Carmella, what the hell were you wearing up around your shoulders when you first came out? It wasn't a jacket. It was like it wasn't even a half a jacket. It was like an eighth of a jacket. It had sleeves and a little bit of fabric at the top to connect the sleeves. I was like, what is that? I don't know what they call those kind of micro jackets. I don't know. I mean, kudos to Carmella for being able to wear that thing and get out of it and not strangle herself or break an arm, because I definitely would have dislocated my shoulder. But, anyway, so moving forward. So, The first person eliminated was Naomi, which meant her team had to go. She was eliminated by Billie Kay and Peyton Royce of the Iconics. Now, oh boy, the Iconics. Wow. Okay. Not that they aren't terrific wrestlers, and they're heels, so I'm supposed to hate them. So they're doing a great job because I really despise these two. But my gosh. Oh goodness. I think it would be accurate to say that you could definitely hear them coming, if nothing else, when they're in the ring, because I haven't heard screaming like that since the last time we had a family wedding. No, I'm just, that is a joke in case any of my horrified family is now listening to this going, damn that girl and her loose mouth. But no, we've never had any problems at my family's weddings as far as I can recall. But seriously, the last time I saw any kind of yelling and screaming and complete conniption throwing like these two were like, if you took a Black Friday sale and combined it with the whole running of the brides thing they used to do at Filene's Basement in Boston. And if you're from New England, you get that. They're entertaining to watch. I really have to give it to the Iconics for being entertaining, considering the fact that they were the next people eliminated by Nia Jax and Tamina after a pair of twin Samoan drops, which really looked like they hurt. A lot. Following their elimination, we had a lot more fighting going on, and then we had Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan eliminated by Tamina, who pinned the both of them after delivering a Superfly splash. It was impressive. I have to say it was impressive and terrifying because she's a really agile young lady, and she's really got a lot of I think she's got a lot of potential. I really do like Tamina. I just wish that she would either get more work on the mic, or they could give her the mic so she could get more work. It's kind of those things like, people say like, well, someone doesn't talk enough. It's like, well, because they don't know they're not really good on the mic. Well, how do you get good on the mic? You have to go out there and talk on the mic. You don't, it's aggravating. Also, during the match, we had a moment where Nia went charging, and I believe it was Bayley, and then she moved, and Nia smashed right into one of the pods, and there was plexiglass flying everywhere, and she looked like she was out. And I laughed like a supervillain. Did I mention that I have a slight sadistic streak? Yeah, I'm kind of working on that. The next person eliminated was Tamina. She was eliminated by a whole bunch of people, including Sasha, Bayley, Mandy, and Sonya. And the actual pin came after a Bayley diving elbow drop. Following that, the next person eliminated was Sonya Deville, who was eliminated by the submission hold, the bank statement that was clapped on by Sasha Banks, which makes Bayley and Sasha the Boss and Hug connection, the inaugural, I hate that word. That word is hard. WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. We had a moment with them in the ring, and it was really nice. It was a really nice thing. It was, I enjoyed it. I thought it was sweet. I was like, oh, this is nice. And it felt real. I know that's kind of an odd thing to say in wrestling because it's completely, crazy and, it is what it is and we all know it, but it's awesome and we all love it. This felt really real and good and perfect. It actually felt perfect. The end of the match felt perfect. If you could, kind of tune out Corey Graves and all his bitching about, seriously, Sasha, if you're hearing this, what did you do to this guy that he's carrying a mat on for you that's boiling on, bordering on bunny boiling obsession area? Crying out loud. Pay him the $20 you owe him or whatever it is, because crikey, he just won't shut up about you. And not in a good way. Actually, he won't just shut up because, boy, that would just make me a happy little camper. The next match was for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship held by, deep breath, Kim, you can do this, held by The Miz and Shane McMahon. Almost said that with a straight face. Nearly did it. I'm going to work harder on that. Before the match, we had Miz come out to the ring and stand up on the entrance ramp. And he brought out someone we haven't seen for a little while on WWE programming, and that was his wife, Maurice. And they announced that they are having another child. So, mazel tov and congratulations and God be with you and much love. And, you know, I hope everything goes well and everything, you know, I mean, I love how the fans start chanting, "You still got it." I'd rather not speculate on what the it is. Actually, we all know what the it is, but we're not going to say that because we're going to try and be a lady for a change, Kim. And it was nice. I mean, it was really nice. Like I said, God be with them, you know, and everything like that. And I hope everything is great for their next pregnancy because, you know, they've got their little daughter and now they're going to have another child and who knows what the future holds. You know, they might be like, you know, they might be like wrestling's answer to the Osmonds and have like 85 kids or whatever. And they were going against former tag team champions Jimmy and Jey Uso and private, like, stuff that happens in people's private lives and all that. I'm not touching that. So if you're waiting for me to make some kind of smart joke, I'm not going to. This was a really good match, which didn't surprise me at all because all the people involved are really good at what they do. The Usos are great tag team strategists and work super well together. The Miz is always entertaining and exciting, and Shane McMahon is nuts. Now, I mean that... sorry. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Bless his heart. It's not that I don't like watching Shane wrestle, because I do. It's not like I don't like listening to Shane on the mic, because I do. It's just that I'm sitting there going, he's gonna kill himself. You know, I'm just like, I don't want to see that happen. Because Shane McMahon has what I have decided to refer to with my years of medical expertise that I don't have as Shane McMahon syndrome. Shane McMahon syndrome is something where you have a guy that, you know, 11 months out of the year is a completely normal person, and then 1 month out of the year, they have to climb up on something very high and throw themselves off it, presumably onto another wrestler. Sometimes not, because the other person moves. And, you know, watching Shane get up on the top turnbuckle to do the coast to coast, I was just kind of going, this is going to be either really amazing or absolutely horrible. And I'm glad we got amazing. I knew we weren't going to get amazing twice, and we didn't, because the second coast to coast, Shane ran right into an Uso kick in the face. You know, it is what it is. And the match wound up being won by the Usos. So the Jimmy and Jey Uso are now SmackDown Tag Team Champions again, which is great. I was kind of like, at the end of the match, I have to be kind of honest, I was on pins and needles. I really should move my embroidery kit before I watch a show. But I'm ching. And these are the jokes, folks. It's a free show. What do you want? I was really kind of on pins and needles about, I was like, okay, Miz is going to turn on him. Miz is going to blast Shane in the face. No? Okay. Walk to the back. All right. We're all like hugging each other and holding up each other and da-da-da. And I'm like, okay. We see them in the back and, you know, Miz is completely flipping his shit and about losing and letting the team down and blah, blah, blah. And Shane finally tells him, because Shane finally remembers, oh, wait, I run SmackDown. Shane's all like, go home, Mike. I mean, that's how, it's like, oh gosh, this is serious now, because he called him by his real name, which everybody knows anyway. I was really kind of, I mean, is it wrong of me? Is it really cynical of me? Am I a bad person that I was waiting for the turn from one of them that didn't happen? I'm not saying I wanted to see it turn, because I don't. I actually like this team. Don't even ask me why, but I do. So moving forward, with a handicap match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, with champion Bobby Lashley and his manager, mouthpiece, major annoyance, Lio Rush, going against Finn Balor. Just a moment, please. Let me say that again. Finn Balor. Yummy. Finn and his abs looked amazing. Not that Bobby's not an incredible physical specimen as well, and Lio Rush is actually pretty ripped for a guy his height, and he's a slippery little bugger. But Finn managed to win by pinning Lio Rush, so now Finn is the Intercontinental Champion. I don't know if that's going to last all the way to WrestleMania, which would be great. I knew, this time I did know what was going to happen, and I was right. I'm sitting there going, and we're going to have Bobby Lashley beat the shit out of Lio Rush in 5, 4. It didn't take long, but it was all, like, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Damn, I did it. I'm punching him, flipped him around and everything like that. Considering what would happen the next night, where Bobby Lashley was involved in the beatdown that took a shit ton of people to beat up Braun Strowman, because, let's face it, Braun Strowman is a brick shithouse. He's built like a brick shithouse. So I guess he's still a heel. Whatevs. The match for the women's tag team, the Raw Women's Championship was next. So, allegedly going to be next. Where it didn't start off that way, though, because we had this whole blah blah with Charlotte and Becky Lynch, and it was just, I was just kind of like, okay, we're seriously just gonna go as far as we can into Steve Austin territory, right? It's like, okay, all right, we're just gonna keep it up. Okay, it's like, all right. Ronda Rousey, the champion, went against Ruby Riott, and so I'm sorry, did anybody think that this was actually going to end with Ruby Riott walking out with the belt? Yeah, me neither. Ronda won by submission in 1 minute, 40 seconds. So if you were a fan of either lady and you went to the bathroom, you were seriously disappointed. Actually, if you were a fan of either lady and dropped your phone and went to look for it, took a snapshot, sneezed, you missed the match. As I said, Charlotte was still out there, watching the match and stuff like that. And then Becky came out on crutches, and Charlotte's being all, a bitch, because apparently Charlotte's back to being a bitch. And we had this whole thing where, Becky's using the crutches that she's on because she got hurt at the house show the night before. She ran into, Charlotte's match against Asuka and tweaked her knee again, which is not a good thing. And she's on crutches, and she starts wailing on Charlotte, hands one of her crutches to Ronda. Now they've both got crutches, and I'm looking at the both of them, and all I can start doing is singing Duel of the Fates because I'm a nerd. And Becky's kind of directing Ronda to attack Charlotte. Ronda's not really into it. But when she does get closer to Charlotte, who's on the ground, Becky all of a sudden remembers, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be the heel in this, and starts wailing on Ronda, which, okay. So you've got a woman who was a female fighter in UFC and broke people for real, and you're gonna hit her with a crutch. I'm sorry, this does not seem like strategy to me. This seems like suicide to me. But Nobody asked me. It's a complete clusterfuck, Donnybrook, slobber knocker, however you want to word it. And finally, some security comes out and they take Becky away. Now, if you or me or anybody else had done what Becky did, there would have been cops in there in about 5 seconds, and the cops would have taken you out back, and they would have beat the shit out of you and thrown you out of the arena, or at least, or even worse, arrested your ass. Seeing as how Becky is currently suspended, I don't see why this didn't happen unless they were worried that she was going to beat up the cops too. I still don't get what people's problem is with Ronda Rousey. I really don't. I know that some people had a problem with Miz way back in the day, in the back and, in the front and the fans. You had people who were of the, he didn't pay his dues, blah, 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 school of thought. Okay, fine, whatever. Ronda has paid her dues. Ronda has been in the motherfucking octagon. I'd like to see any of you shitheads out there that are booing her last 5 seconds in the octagon with Ronda. Never mind lasting that long with a man, because she'd probably rip your dick off and shove it down your throat. I just don't get the hate toward Ronda. Is she that great on the mic? No, not especially. She's trying super hard, and she seems like a really decent person. So I just don't get why the fans are being assholes, other than that some fans are just assholes. So there's that. A no disqualification match was next between Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman, which unfortunately did not end the way I wanted it to, with Braun Strowman, breaking Baron Corbin into little bitty pieces, and they had to shake him out of the ring, in a bag, or several, which I would have laughed at because, as I mentioned, sadist. It was one of these complete, it was a mess. It was a complete crazy, clusterfuck insanity kind of thing. And, it was actually won by Baron Corbin, which I'm still not figuring out, really. I'm just not, I'm sorry. I don't understand why they're pushing this guy so hard. It was one thing when he was the acting general manager, blah, blah, blah. But he's not anymore. And since he's not the general manager anymore, put some fucking togs on. Put some fucking wrestling clothes on. Why are you out there in fucking, pants and a shirt and a vest and all that stuff like that? 'Cause you look like a douche. You look like a complete douche. And of course, again, it was a case of, the whole fact that Corbin can't do shit on his own, and you have Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley come out and help him get, beat up on Strowman and drive him through a table and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. It's like, fuck. I know it's a no disqualification match, so it's not like he, it's not like it was cheating to have this happen. It just showed that Baron Corbin's a pussy, and can't get shit done on his own. And that Drew McIntyre has to be somebody's bitch, and that Bobby Lashley is just dumb. That Bobby Lashley's just, out there following who's ever beating up on somebody because that seems smart. I don't know. I'm kind of like, okay, so you all three now have pissed off someone that's referred to as the monster among men. Right. Y'all are like people that fuck in the woods in Friday the 13th movies. You know what's going to happen next. Jason's going to come along and machete you into little bite-sized pieces. And Braun don't need a machete to make that happen. Y'all are doomed. Following that was the main event of the evening, the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship, held by Daniel Bryan. Sorry, threw up in my mouth. I'll be okay. AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston again, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. Okay, I have talked, and I'm not going to talk anymore about the whole new belt thing, other than the fact that somebody brought up, and I was like, oh, fuck, please let this happen, if not tonight, at some point, because when it does, I will laugh till I cry, that I want whoever wins that stupid new belt from Daniel Bryan, and it has to be somebody, it has to be soon, throw it in a wood chipper. I want to see that belt go in a wood chipper. I want to see the end of Fargo again with that belt. But instead of Steve Buscemi's character, it's the belt. Because, again, I will laugh like a supervillain. I thought this match was really great. Although, I gotta be honest, I was completely blown the fuck away when the first person to be eliminated was Samoa Joe. I was completely like, what the huh? I gotta be honest. I mean, I thought it was cool that he was eliminated by AJ Styles because they've had this whole feud which got real personal and real ugly and really, the feud didn't get dumb. The feud was, interesting and stuff like that between Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. But I'm sorry, like I mentioned before in a previous show, when you get a man's family involved, one of two things are going to happen. He's either going to crumble and completely be useless, or he's going to be so pissed off that, the only thing that's going to be able to stop him will be a pair of steroid-ridden hellhounds. And guess which way AJ Styles went? I'm sorry, AJ, I didn't mean anything disrespectful or disparaging there. I know you're a Christian, and not trying to say I'm aligning you with the forces of darkness or anything, but just to say that. AJ wound up pinning Samoa Joe after delivering the phenomenal forearm, and Samoa Joe was eliminated, which I'm like, wow. Not for nothing, Joe, and you don't have to take my advice or listen to me at all. AEW. Please go to AEW. The next person eliminated was Jeff Hardy, who was eliminated by Daniel Bryan, who gave him a running knee because I needed more reason to fucking despise Daniel Bryan. I'm like, fine, you take one of the only good-looking people out of this match, now I have to look at you. Next eliminated was AJ Styles, who was eliminated by Randy Orton, who used his patented RKO out of nowhere. I'm sorry, the whole RKO out of nowhere thing does not work in the fucking Elimination Chamber, because everybody's in there. It's not like he ran in from the crowd and did it. Having everybody in a big-ass fucking cage, and then doing the whole, RKO out of nowhere. Fuck you. It's stupid. It's just stupid. The next person pinned actually was Randy Orton, who was pinned by Kofi Kingston after delivering the Trouble in Paradise, which leads us to the part of the show that I was like, this better be the end of this show. This better be where we are at the end of this show, and it better go the way I want, or I'm gonna be fucking aggravated and release my inner Godzilla. So we're down to Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, and we know this is going to be fucking amazing. And spoiler alert, it was fucking amazing. For 36 minutes and 40 seconds, it was fucking amazing until Daniel Bryan, with the running knee, pinned Kofi Kingston. And the moment that happened, every single bit of air got sucked out of that building. You literally heard everybody's feelings, spirit, aura, whatever you want to call it, plummet into their socks. It was so awesome to see people give Kofi the respect he deserved when the match was done, and Xavier Woods and Biggie Langston came out and helped Kofi get out of the ring because it was an amazing, grueling match. I mean, he'd fought the whole match anyway, and then to have an almost 40-minute clinic with Daniel Bryan, I mean, come on. And listen to people saying, thank you, Kofi, and you deserve it, and all this stuff like that. It was really, really something incredible to hear. And it was honest. It was really honest, and it felt pure. I mean, I don't know how else to word it, and I realize some people might be like, that's a really weird way to word it, but that's my choice of words. If I was gonna rank, which I'm gonna start ranking stuff now because everybody else does it, so why not? I would give the Elimination Chamber, I would say I would give it 4 bouquets out of 5. It wasn't the be-all, end-all show, and I was also extremely pissed off because Mustafa Ali was supposed to be part of the Elimination Chamber. Unfortunately, he could not because of injury. Mustafa, I hope you know we're all thinking of you as fans, and we all hope you get well soon, and most of us think you should have been cast as Aladdin. Oh, man. Will Smith is the genie. Wow. Anyway. So get well, Mustafa, and be back soon, because we miss you, because you're awesome. I thought it was a good show. I mean, it wasn't perfect, and there were a couple of times I was kind of like, why is the camera over here when the camera should be over here? We're missing something over... Get the fuck over there! I mean, I know it's crazy being a cameraman. You have to do 9 million things, and there's people screaming in your ear and blah, blah, blah. But it was a good show. I mean, it was really an enjoyable, entertaining show. The next pay-per-view, which will be the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania, is Fastlane, which will be in the city of Cleveland, Ohio, at the Quicken Loans Arena in Ohio. We already know that there's going to be 2 matches have already been announced. The Usos, Jimmy and Jey Uso, will put their championship on the line against the former champions, The Miz and Shane McMahon. And Kofi Kingston will be getting another shot at Daniel Bryan's incredibly stupid belt, in a singles match for the WWE Championship. So we know there's going to be more matches added on at some point, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So, what did you guys think of the Elimination Chamber? I'd love to know your opinions. I'd like to know what your opinions are with the other things I was talking about earlier. PlatinumRoselle@yahoo.com. If you would like to send your opinions, thoughts, complaints, comments, anything my way, I would definitely love to hear from you. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, you can do that. I am PlatinumRoselle@twitter.com, and I hope you will like, share, and subscribe to my show, and tell other people about it, and ask them to like, share, and subscribe too. There are other shows that are part of our little island of misfit toys that I'd like to talk to you about. One of the other shows that is my solo show is Platinum Rose's Garden, which is my Supernatural podcast. I am a Supernatural fan. I have been since season 4. And I talk about the most recent episode and what I liked about it and, specific lines or things like that. My most recent podcast is up with a review of the episode Lebanon. So I hope you'll check that out. And I have a Patreon show, which you can check out and subscribe to, which I hope you will. I hope people will listen to it and, subscribe, and that would be cool. It's a low fee, so that would be nice for you too. My other show is called Kaiju Corner, and it is a show about giant monster movies. I have been a Godzilla fan since I was a very small child and grown up with the character. And I like talking about that on my show and my impressions and feelings about the character and where he's gone and where he's going, since he's going to be back in Godzilla King of the Monsters coming out later on this year. Pardon me, I have to do this squee! I am really, really excited about this movie. And there are other shows that are part of our little family. They would include Subject Cinema, which is a movie podcast that me and my dear, sweet, long-suffering husband TC have been doing for over 10 years. Holy crap. It is a movie podcast where we talk about movies and all kinds of crazy things, and we have a lot of fun, and we try not to be super duper serious. Sometimes we're serious, but for the most part, we try and be pretty irreverent because there's a lot of, podcasts out there that are all about being serious and all that, which is great, but every once in a while you need a little bit of wacky in your life, and that's us. He has some solo shows as well, and those would include Catastrophe Vortex. He is a disaster movie junkie. So if you are a devotee of movies where things fall down, blow up, or people go boom, you can check out his show as well. And he has 2 mini shows, Tuesday Digidex and 3 Minute Weekend, which are shows that are talking about movies that are coming out to the theater, to Redbox, to on demand, so you know where to spend your money. We also have another show that we do together called Front Row 5 and 10, which is a list show, and our lists are about everything and anything we can think of. And if you have a list idea that you'd like us to do on the show, by all means send it to us. You can send it to me at platinumroselle@yahoo.com, and we'll definitely do it, and we'll give you credit for it as well. There are other people that are part of our family that I'm not married to, and those would include Eric and Valerie, who have a show called Cavebabble, and they are really sweet, nice, awesome people. And they are on that show with their daughters and, other people that they can have come and talk. And they do all kinds of crazy fun things, and they're really great people. We have a friend who has a YouTube channel, Aunt B's Nerd Grotto, run by Anthony Lamberti, who's a really great guy and very knowledgeable about figures and comics and stuff like that. And he's a great dude, and I hope you'll check him out over on YouTube. And if you are of a more dramatic bent, I'm a little bent, but that's, beside the point. We have 2 dramatic works that we have up as that are part of our family that I hope, if you like to check them out, I hope you will. Manhattan Hammerdown, As It Happened, was our first dramatic reading. It is a look at what else was going on in New York the night that something very big and very pissed off came out of New York Harbor. It was released in conjunction with the 10-year anniversary of the film Cloverfield. It was all written by TC. He worked on it, very tirelessly and wrote a great script, and we are all involved, everybody in our family. And also, we did a special thing for this past Halloween. We released our own modern interpretation of the H.G. Wells classic, The War of the Worlds, and there'll be a link in the notes, so you can go check that out if you'd like. And if you do like those, please leave them a comment or, write to us and let us know what you thought. So, that is going to wrap it up for another week here on Ring Around the Rosie. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you keep being a positive wrestling fan. Try and stay positive out there, everybody. This is Kim Brown, a.k.a. Platinum Rose Lady, signing off for another week. Ciao!
You have been listening to Ring Around the Rosie with Kim Brown, a production of PNRNetworks. Keep in touch with all things about the show at http://ringaroundtherosie.net. Ring Around the Rosie intro performed by Eric Lyon. Ring Around the Rosie theme by Digital Juice. Join Kim for a new Ring Around the Rosie every Wednesday. Ring Around the Rosie is copyright 2018 PNRNetworks, Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.